or advertisers of this station.
Oh, yeah. All right. All right. Check this out. 1, 2, 3. In the place to be, as it is plain to see. He is DJ Run, and I am DMC. Funky Fresh for 1983. DJ Jam Master J. Inside the place with all the bass. He leaves without a trace. And he came here tonight to get on your case. And we are the crush grooving, the body moving, the record making, and the record breaking. And it goes a little something like this. It goes a 1, 2, 3, and here we go. 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 DMC and DJ Run. Dum diddy dum diddy diddy dum dum. We're rocking on the mic and then you know where we're from. Dum diddy dum dum. We hope y'all ready for the big beat drum. Drum diddy drum drum. So people in the place in the big beat come. Here it come, here it come, here it kitty come. Come on everybody, let's all get down. What we have is a brand new sound. So nobody out there be misled. We make up all these rhymes inside our head. The other MCs cannot compete. When we rap on the mic to this big beat. The beat is big, it's kind of large. And when we're on the mic, we're in charge.
It's like that jaw,
jaw,
like that jaw,
that jaw,
like that of the back, I like that jaw.
that jaw.
Cool cheap rocker, I don't drink vodka, but keep a bag of cheaper inside my leg. I go to school every day, on the side make the pay, cause I'm rocking on the mic until the break of day.
And now the things I do make me a star. And you can be too if you know who you are. Just put your mind to it, you go real far. And the next thing you know, you have a big star.
Listen to the beat that I say, because it's not routine, it's the way I play. Just come out my mouth all time of the day, and then most of the time you're Master J.
Hey, they used to call me Easy D because I rapped on the mic so easily. But now they call me DMC. He's DMC
All right.
of the party. The D's for doing it.
Yeah, better get out of there right now while it's still safe. That hardcore early 80s rap with all of their hip, a hop, the hibbity hip, a hobbita.
Don't stop
Bang.
to the bang bang the boogie. Say, jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat.
Yep, with all of that, you know, they're bound to say anything.
Anything.
Like, you ever been over a friend's house to eat and the
And
food just ain't no good? So that's why Run DMC. I mean, you know, it's funny. You know, young people today look back and like Run DMC were like hip hop's bad boys. Really? You know, like the King of Rock, My Adidas, Walk This Way. That was being a bad boy. Well, when you come behind the Sugar Hill Gang,
Right.
pretty much if you said dang on the air, it was like, ooh.
Yeah.
They said heck. And next they'll be saying hell.
And they might even get to the place where they say damn. So,
Gosh darn it. Golly gee, it's the Power Hour brought to you every Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. here at WURD. That's Word Radio. You can check us out on the app. You can check us out, I don't know, Facebook Live, YouTube. You can go old school 900 AM, 96.1 FM if you're in the Philadelphia area, or if you just have one of those crazy ham radios from Australia that can pick up signals anywhere. Feel free, you know, but there's certainly easier ways, but I know for folk like that, that's how you want to rock. And bringing the show to you each and every morning, as long as we can, is sitting across from me, Bishop Dwayne David Royster.
all right, and sitting across from me is the Reverend Dr. Mark Kelly Tyler, Oakland's finest, in the house.
Yep, and we are being led today on the ones and twos by Jordan. What's up, Jordan? DJ Jordan, what's up?
So how y'all doing?
Yeah, all right.
Look at it.
like, I'm just going to jump in here for a minute. I got my morning voice on.
Yeah, for a second.
Rocking his gazelles, his leather blazer, and his Adidas early in the morning.
That's right.
Oh,
Exactly.
So folks, we got, all right. So check it out. If you're on Facebook Live this morning with us, do us a big favor and hit the share button. Send this out to your friends and to your family. Invite them to come on in and be a part of this conversation. Do not be ashamed of the fact that you are listening to us on this morning. Come on, have them come on in and be a part as well. So, Royster,
Yes, sir.
your guy. Let's start with your favorite thing. Politics is your sport.
Yes, sir.
So, while I'm really, wanting to talk about how awful the Patriots look and how good that is for the rest of us, I'll digress because your guy is about to take us on an incredible expedition. We're about to watch oh my God, not James Cagney, the guy who played Wonderful Life, the star.
Jimmy Stewart.
Jimmy Stewart, thanks. Yeah, Jimmy Stewart played an elected official in a movie called Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, where to save America, he filibustered for days. I mean, it was incredible. And so your guy, Bernie Sanders, is promising to do the same thing on the Senate floor. And I'm excited. I want to see this. So what's this all about? Why is he doing it? What does he hope to gain?
I don't really know.
What?
I know. You caught me off guard on that one. I thought you were talking about Trump and all, his stuff that he's up to right now with, Bernie has been upset about he's been upset about the stimulus bill. He didn't think it was enough money. He is pretty ticked about that Trump actually went and signed it.
Right.
The House voted yesterday to override the $600. So there is, they voted to do the $2,000 stimulus checks, and they actually had Republicans that voted with them on the $2,000 stimulus checks. They also voted yesterday to override the defense budget veto that Trump put in place as well. So honestly, I hadn't heard that Bernie was going to filibuster, but I can only imagine what he's going to filibuster about, because it's usually about economics. It's about the stimulus checks. I'm pretty confident he probably wants a UBI put in place, which is a universal basic income that would really help families out. But I don't know what details you have. I could probably, once you tell me, I could probably go into more detail about what it is.
Well, you pretty much laid it out. So
Yeah.
it is. It's his objection to the Senate not voting for $2,000. So all he wants is the Senate to be on record voting for it before they wrap up all this legislation.
Right.
And I think that's important because obviously, it will make everybody get on record. So, listen, in politics, you can say whatever you want to say when you're just out there on the stump and you're out there talking junk and you're talking about what you are going to do. Donald Trump was a classic example, right? Tweeting up about, I don't know if I'm going to sign this bill. I don't know, blah, blah, blah. Bro, there's a certain point where politics slaps you in the face. And then even with this other piece, he vetoes it, the defense spending bill. And what happens, again, the House votes to overturn it and overturn his veto. So now here we come to the Senate piece. And so Bernie is saying that he's going to prevent it from happening by doing a filibuster until they at least take a vote on whether or not to pay Americans $2,000. He knows it will fail, but he wants the Republicans on record as being the cheapskates that they are.
Yeah, that makes total sense for Bernie. And, especially since the House did the override yesterday and Trump said he wants the $2,000. I also think he's calling Trump's bluff, right?
Yeah.
Basically saying, okay, whip your Republicans to get us to the $2,000, which I think makes sense. But, and I saw, what was it, Robert Garland says, ugh, Bernie, I can't stand him, nor always on camera. So, Robert, just so you know, I was a Bernie supporter. So the first time around, I was a Bernie supporter. Second time around, Elizabeth Warren. And as a matter of fact, Reverend Tyler and I actually were beefing originally during the 2016 race because we were in different camps on that one. So
yeah, pretty much. And
we were very different camps on that one.
Right, but yeah, listen, we both lost, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just at different times.
When the Democratic primary was over, I got on Team Hillary. I did get on. I was very public about it as well.
Yeah, you caught a lot of hell from Bernie people.
Yes, I did.
Which is why people have issues with Bernie people. But I think that, listen, honestly, so I'm with you, Robert. I get it. Bernie's act gets very tiresome to me as well. But I have to admit that this is this is one of those moments where, like, if you're the Democrats, to me, this is how you use a Bernie Sanders, right? Because, I mean, this is his thing, man. I mean, it's like giving Marshawn Lynch the ball at the 2-yard line with the game on the line. It's like, it's just what he does, man. Just give him the ball and let him pound. He's going to get in there some way. And this is what Bernie does well. It is true to who he is. And I don't think, I mean, honestly, there's no downside for Democrats in this stunt, right? And there's only upside. And let's remember that all of this is happening with the subtext of Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
It is all about Georgia this week.
Yeah.
Early voting ends on Thursday, New Year's Eve. That's it. And then it's all about turnout on Tuesday, on January the 5th. And so Bernie knows that. And the last thing Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue want to do is to be caught in the middle of Donald Trump and Mitch McConnell. It's a no-win for them.
Right.
Right? So do you vote with Bernie for $2,000, knowing that you're going against the wishes of Mitch McConnell and Senate Republican leadership? Or do you vote with them for $600 and look like the cheapskates that you are and pay the price on Tuesday? And that's why I said, I mean, to me, it is a brilliant move.
Well,
and
the only senators that have to really be worried about this, though, are those that are going to run for office again in 2022. So just so everybody knows, every 2 years, a third of the Senate is up for re-election because they actually have 6-year terms. Mm-hmm. So only those senators that are concerned about 2022 are really weighing this heavily. If you're a Republican and you just won your election, you don't care. If you have 4 years, you don't care. The only people that this really matters for are the third of the Senate. So you have about 30, usually somewhere between 29 to 30 some odd senators that are up for election at any one time. They're the only ones that are really concerned about this at this moment because this has the potential to come bite them back. But then they're also weighing the fact that Donald Trump will still be a factor 2 years because essentially he is still the de facto head of the Republican Party until the next presidential election. So, yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff that people are trying to weigh in on at the moment.
Well, like I said again, I mean, if you're the Democrats, this is how Bernie Sanders helps you because typically Bernie's timing has not been great. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And so I applaud the move and celebrate it because I think this is, I mean, listen.
But he does this because nobody gets hurt, right? Because,
well,
right, because the bill's been signed. Everybody's going to. They actually, the reports are out that they're trying to scramble to get the first $600 checks out this week before Friday. Not everybody's going to get them, but they're trying to get the first ones out. But the piece that becomes important about Bernie at this moment and why he wants to filibuster is that there's little likelihood that the Senate is going to override this veto. So this is legislation that basically is not going to come to pass. So in doing so, nobody's losing a check as a result of this. There's nobody that's actually going to get hurt by him filibustering. If he was trying to filibuster the original one, people would get hurt. He wouldn't do that. But in this particular circumstance, there's no risk of anybody getting hurt because this bill is merely just one bill that the Republicans have already said they're not going to support.
That's exactly right. And so, I mean, so again, it's all about Georgia. And I think that anything that the Democrats can do in this moment to keep the light on the differences between Ossoff and Warnock versus Perdue and Loeffler. I mean, the differences couldn't be any more dramatic and different, right? I mean, think about the Senate, for example. So here's Mitch McConnell with his net worth of 22 point something million. His wife has a net worth of about 24 million. And I'm not knocking them for being rich. I mean, I'm not that guy who's saying you shouldn't, be wealthy. That's not where I stand. But what I am saying is that it's awful insensitive for a person who is comfortable for the rest of his life or her life to then say to people, $600 is more than enough for you. We gave you $1,200 8 months ago. Aren't you happy? Right? I mean, it's just like so out of touch. And Loeffler is, I think, the richest U.S. senator.
Yes. Her husband, chair of the stock exchange.
I mean, my God, do I need to say any more? It's like we could drop the mic and go on home right now, right? Perdue is not far behind. And so on the other side, you've got, Raphael Warnock from down in South Georgia, born and raised, went off to Morehouse, did well. He does well as the pastor Ebenezer, but he ain't raking in a net worth of $22 million. I'll tell you that. And so I think that, when you get down to it, and I know neither party is perfect, but again, this race is one that lifts up, I think, one of the most dramatic differences, and one that Democrats used to have the high ground on. But for some reason, they forget that messaging, right? I mean, James Carville told Bill Clinton back in the 90s, it's the economy, stupid.
Yeah.
Right. Don't ever get off of that message. Again, if I am one of them and I'm in Georgia, I am beating over the head Lafner and Perdue and tying them to millionaire Mitch, who only wants to give you $600 and begrudgingly gave you $600 because he didn't want to give you diddly.
Well, I mean, I think that's the other thing. If folk are smart down in Georgia, they're watching this vote, and every ad on television is pointing out how Loeffler and Perdue voted if they did not vote to do this override, right? And then you take that to every rural county in Georgia, and you put that on radio, and you said they didn't want to give you any more money. You're struggling, and they don't want to do anything for you, and that's what you do.
Yeah, I mean, see, the Democrats, I mean, listen, the national playbook has been for the last 10 or 20 years trying to win on the issue of the culture war. And I'm not saying that those issues are not important, because they are. I mean, they absolutely are. But in this particular race, at this moment, Donald Trump is not on the ticket. Joe Biden is not on the ticket.
Mm-hmm.
This is about what is in the best interest of regular Georgians. And again, I spent a lot of time there in the last month.
Yep.
And folk are hurting. It's not just the rural areas. Atlanta has always been that kind of city. I'm telling you, bro, I remember when I was there as a student that, Atlanta had this, it was my first time ever being around a black middle class of that size. I couldn't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Friends of mine who didn't even know underground Atlanta, didn't know downtown Atlanta because they never had to leave. They went to high schools like Benjamin Mays and Frederick Douglass. And I mean, these men look like something off of the Cosby Show.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also this part of Atlanta that has never been touched by the Atlanta that Andrew Young and Maynard Jackson built up. And those folk are hurting. You take that message to them. I'm telling you, it works. But the Dems have to do it. Look, it's 6:20. We're up on the break already. I can't believe it. Social media is very active this morning. If you're missing a great conversation, the real show is happening right now on Facebook Live. I encourage you to go find it right now and jump on in there with them, because they are going all in on this and other topics as well. Sometimes they just do their own thing. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. It's the Power Hour, brought to you again every Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. We'll be right back.
This message is from the Philadelphia Department of Public Health. COVID-19 is still a threat in our communities, but we can all do something simple to help stop the spread. It's critically important to wear a mask or face covering whenever you're in public or around others. Yes, even while social distancing. Wearing a mask shows you care for yourself and your community and is essential to slowing the spread of COVID-19. So love yourself, love your neighbors, wear a mask.
Always Best Care is a great place to work. Flexibility,
leadership, purpose,
great benefits.
There's never a dull moment.
Diversity, inclusion, compasión.
We love our jobs. If you're looking for a great place to work, you can join our compassionate Team Green. You can apply online at teamgreenabc.com or call 267-909-9248.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Want to buy black for the holidays?
WURD Radio has got you covered. WURD is proud to present our virtual holiday marketplace online. Support local, small, black-owned businesses through the marketplace and purchase your holiday gifts today. Visit wordradio.com/marketplace or wordworks.com/marketplace. You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour, hosted by the Reverend Dr. Mark Kelly Tyler and Bishop Dwayne Royster. Hey, WURD listeners, you want to buy black for the holidays? We got you covered WURD Radio is proud to present our virtual holiday marketplace online. Support local, small, Black-owned businesses through the marketplace and purchase your holiday gifts today. Go to wurdradio.com/marketplace or wordworks.com/marketplace. So today is Ujama. You need to go out there and do some cooperative economics and help support Black businesses in our community as we continue the celebration of Kwanzaa and get ready for New Year's. So thank you to all the businesses that are participating and WURD Radio for putting that together. We appreciate your support of our community. All right.
Abarigani.
Abarigani.
What's the news? It's cooperative economics, but Mitch McConnell and the Republicans are not cooperating.
They are not cooperating.
They are not acting in the spirit of Ujama this morning.
By no means. I don't think they even know what that is.
They're like, it's all about me and mine. Dog eat dog. Every man and woman for themselves.
They know trickle down.
Trickle down theory.
They know the trickle down. Now, if they work that right, they'd have worked that into a song, the trickle down, and had it done a TikTok, and they would have been good to go. But they don't know how to do all that. So,
could you see Mitch McConnell doing a TikTok?
Absolutely not.
Man, speaking of TikTok, boy, let me tell you, those Steelers won't learn. Man, Juju Schuster-Smith, whatever. I can't get mixed up with these players with three names these days. Man, Juju got him in trouble again. Remember I was talking about it before where he got knocked out after like dancing on somebody else's logo before the game.
Mm-hmm.
So now the Steelers, after they celebrated their division clinching win, so they're back in the playoffs. Congratulations, Steeler fans. Not the whole team, but a lot of the team did a TikTok with Juju in the locker room to support him because he's a viral sensation. He's all about TikTok. But they did the TikTok without face masks on.
Oh.
And bro, let me tell you something. You know who doesn't play about COVID-19?
Who's that?
The NFL. They have fined teams up to $500,000 for like coaches violating the protocol, not wearing their masks. They have even taken a draft pick from a team. And you got an entire, team out there almost in the locker room with no mask on, posting the TikTok. Bruh, if they lose a draft pick behind this,
over TikTok.
See, when you're a grown man, you shouldn't be playing childish games.
Okay.
That's my thing. My daughters, they live on TikTok because they're teenagers.
So, okay, I know I need to digress here for a minute. I need to talk about TikTok. So my daughter finally got me, on the TikTok. I don't know why she got me on TikTok. Why are all these people undressed on TikTok?
I don't know.
There's a whole lot of people undressed on TikTok. And I'm like, what is going on with this thing? It's like, you got no clothes on, everybody's twerking. And I'm like, they're doing voiceovers of like other comedians are doing voiceovers and regular people are doing. I'm like, what's funny about this? I don't get it. I do not get TikTok.
Well, you are a grown man and you shouldn't get it.
But there's grown ups on here. There's grown people on TikTok. There's a whole lot of grown people on TikTok. I don't understand what the fascination is and what is the thrill of TikTok.
There are a lot of grown folk who wear those like short pants that like go almost all the way down to your ankle. They shouldn't be doing that either. My point is that there's a lot of stuff that as grown-ups that we just don't want to let kids have. It's kid stuff. I mean, yeah, sure, TikTok.
Put some clothes on, though. Put some clothes on.
All right, but trust me, the way we sound right now is how our parents sounded when we were listening to Run DMC with their little potty mouths in the 80s. Like, oh my God, that music. What did Will Smith famously say in that song before he became a parent? Parents just don't understand. And parents shouldn't understand. So TikTok, like other things, it's for children. It's for teenagers. And so I'm fine with that. So I don't need to understand it. I don't need to get it. But when you're a grown up and you're a grown man and you begin hurting your business and the business interest of those around you who are on your team, there's nothing more fundamental than team in football. It's not tennis. It's not an individual sport like golf. It's a team. And now you got your team dragged into your TikTok mess, Juju. It's already hurt you once personally in a game. Now, when this fine and potentially the loss of a draft pick comes down hard on the Steelers, I mean, what did my man say in the Senate? That thing is going down like a shot dog, right? I mean, it's time to grow up.
But they're still kids, man. They're in their early 20s. They're still kids.
When you start making millions of dollars and folk are counting on you like that, you got to grow up. That's all I'm saying. I mean, you know, yeah, it's so, yeah, there you go, Shamika. Thank you. When I was a child, I thought as a child. And I'm not saying don't have fun. Look, I love social media and all that as well. But it's like you would have imagined when he got knocked out in Cincinnati, that would have been enough to kind of learn you. I thought that learned you.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently that hadn't learned you. And so, I mean, I'm telling you, Mike Tomlin, dude, the head coach, do you know who he is? I know you don't watch football like that. Have you ever seen him?
Black guy, right?
Yeah, man, this dude look like he don't play. Mike look like he'll just walk up and fire on you, hit you in your jaw. You'd be like, Coach, okay, you the coach. Yeah, you just cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars and a draft pick. Yes, I can.
Mm-hmm.
So Juju may be playing for another team next year. I'm serious. If this hurts them, there's only so much of that. You know, if you don't check it now, you become a Terrell Owens, you become a Chad Ochocinco. I don't know. Now, you're talking about digressing. Let me get on my rant for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
I do not understand the wide receiver mentality in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
What is it about that position that just, I don't know what it is about the attention seeking and attention drawing of that position. You're not the quarterback. That's the star of the team. That's who's going to get all the credit, but they're going to also get all the blame. That's why Dwight Haskins got fired from the the Washington football team.
Yeah, that's right.
Because he's the quarterback. So nobody's going to blame a wide receiver when a team is like, I don't know, 4-12. They're going to blame the quarterback. They're going to blame the coach. So if you don't want the blame, stop trying to take all the credit, brother. Run your route. Go do down and out, do down and in, do a crossing pattern, do whatever it is, run around out there in the flat. Just stop trying to be the star. It drives me crazy.
The wide receivers, so wait a minute. Let me just go back to my football.
I don't know why.
But the wide receivers, if they play their game well, they are stars, right? Because they're the ones that are putting the ball into the end zone. They're catching passes that are way above their head. They're doing all kinds of acrobatics to be able to do their jobs. They take some of the hardest hits because people are moving at significant speeds when they're getting hit. It's actually an important role. Wide receivers play an important role in the football team to help the team win, and they are usually the fittest of the players.
Oh no.
Running backs and wide receivers, man, they are usually in the best shape.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying every player to me is just as important. But, speaking of football, can we just say this? The run of the New England Patriots is finally over. I think we can put a fork in it. It's done.
Mm-hmm.
Cam Newton was not the answer. The age-old question has it been Tom Brady or has it been Bill Belichick? Which one is it? It appears, at least for this season, it was Tom Brady, who's now gone to the Bucs and gotten them into the playoffs. They actually look like a scary team right now. And, it was funny is people having all this outpouring of sympathy for the Patriot fans. It's like, come on, man.
Well, dynasty's dead, and that's what they're crying about.
In 20 years, this is your first losing season, and you still got 6 wins. You're not the Jets. You're not the Jaguars with 1 win. You still got 6, and we're pretty competitive. You've won 6 Super Bowls in 20 years, which is unheard of. You've been to the playoffs 16 out of 19 times. You benefited from being in a pretty weak division during that time with some notable exceptional years, but by and large, it's not been great. And I just think that it speaks to something about our society, something else I just want to rant on, which is this idea that, you're never going to go through anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like every day is supposed to be sunny. I'm a Warriors fan. I am so grateful that in the last 7 years, my team of my entire life, I went through those horrible years, the 10 win years, but that we got a 7-year run, 5 straight times to the championship, won 3, pretty much was like the team of the decade, as far as a team, not individuals, but a team, put together something special, and now it's kind of over. We look horrible now, but you know what? I'm grateful. You don't have to feel sorry for me. We picked up 3 rings. We got hardware to add to our existing rings. Let's move on. But this idea that it's like, oh man, the poor Patriots, those cheaters, the Deflate Gate, taping the opposing team's practices. We need to put some asterisks near some of those championships. But it is this idea, right, that like there are supposed to be no rainy days in life. And I think that says something about our society where we don't know how to cope in a moment where when things get rough.
So, yes, I would totally agree with that. And unfortunately, the church is to blame on that as well, because some of our theology has gotten really cheap. And it's always about everyday Sunday, and everything's all about health and wealth, and, make your declarations, and it's all going to be all right. And that's not even biblical. But, we have a tendency to do that as well. Not my church. But, there are those churches that are out there that do that, which is very problematic.
That's good preaching right there. You're talking about the prosperity gospel.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I have a lot of issue with prosperity gospel and that similar thinking. Life is a roller coaster ride. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down, sometimes you're going up, sometimes you're down, sometimes you're in a spin. You come out eventually, but it's part of the journey.
Is it, man, you know something? All right. So Bonhoeffer, one of our favorite theologians, the expression he put on what you just said is, he called it cheap grace back in the mid-20th century. And that'll preach all you budding theologians out there listening to our show. I know y'all like, how do they go from Run DMC to Bonhoeffer in the same show in less than 30 minutes? But that's what we do. These are literally like our conversations on the telephone for 2 hours, right? We're like a real barbershop. We run the entire gamut. But Bonhoeffer talked about cheap grace, right? He said, the quote is, cheap grace is grace without discipleship, grace without the cross, grace without Jesus Christ living and incarnate. So in other words, you want all the good stuff, but you don't want the cross, right? You just want the crown. But is that not really what we're witnessing as well play out in the country around this election?
Absolutely.
The idea that somehow that somebody has done you an injustice because you've lost an election. The thing that I just can't get over about Donald Trump is this. Dude, you were born to a millionaire. In spite of all your attempts at failure, you somehow became a billionaire. After wrecking businesses and ruining lives and your own finances, you still became a billionaire. Yeah. Say what you want about his wife and her past and all that. You have a very beautiful wife. You have, your children are all successful, notwithstanding they got a little bit of help along the way. But I mean, when you kind of look at it on paper, it's like you are the embodiment of the American dream. And then to top it off, you got to be president of the United States and a billionaire. And you listen to this guy talk. And it's like, my God, you're the most ungrateful person I have ever had an opportunity to experience. It's the woe is me, they took from me. No, you burned bridges everywhere you went. You burned down John McCain, you torched him in Arizona, and then you wonder why Arizona, who held him in such high regard, went to the Democrats. You did that. But it's black folk in Phoenix stealing votes and Mexicans. I'm sorry, man. Your cheap grace piece just triggered me, and it is about this moment and what he represents and how so many people have bought into that, not owning responsibility, not being appreciative of what they actually have, and that is really a sad commentary on the state of things today.
Well, I mean, so now I'm going to get real deep. Octavia Butler, in her books, Parable of the Sower, Parable of the Talents. For those of you that don't know, Octavia Butler was a sci-fi writer, African-American woman, and was quite prolific while she was alive. Her books were just very powerful, but she was also referred to as an Afrofuturist. As a matter of fact, if you've seen the movie Black Panther, you would know that some of the consulting that was done around Black Panther was taking from Octavia Butler's image of what Africa would look like. So it's very important for us to understand who Octavia Butler is and her importance in African-American history. But Octavia Butler, in her book, her second book, The Parable of the Talents, talks about the rise of the Christian Church of America. And, you know, some of the things that we're talking about actually are indicative of American Christianity, or what I often refer to as the American Christian Church of America, which is deeply tied to meritocracy, deeply tied to prosperity, deeply tied to conservative values that often have absolutely nothing to do with Christianity, but are more in line with unfettered capitalist principles that, you know, drive the country. And so when I think about what America is and where we are right now, I think about the Christian Church of America. I actually often have to separate that from the church, because there are things that we practice and do in this country and actually have exported to other countries that still maintain a colonial mentality that we have locked in both Asia and Africa and other European nations with this sort of Christianity that is not rooted deeply in biblical rootedness, but it's deeply rooted in self, in selfishness, and self-centeredness. Which is deeply indicative of American politic. And so that's part of the challenge that we're constantly wrestling with. And I think, you know, what you and I both war against all the time, you know, we do the work that we do around justice because of the importance of our faith in speaking to justice. A lot of folk take their economic outlook, their capitalist mentality, and then lay that on top of their reading of this sacred text, and then they decide to go make churches out of it. Instead of taking the text and allowing the text to guide you, you take your own personal theology, white supremacist, unfettered capitalist, misogynistic, sexist, homophobic theology, and then you put that on top of how you read the Bible, and then you come up with everything that you want. And it's just very caustic and very dangerous in the world.
Well, it is definitely dangerous is an understatement. It's led us to where we are right now in this particular moment. And we're up on the break. And when we come back, we will continue this conversation. It is 6:40 in the morning. And please continue to put your comments and your thoughts in the chat, and we will try to get to them when we come back. And hey, Asa, all I can say is beauty is in the eye of the beholder. We got to go. We'll be right back.
Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report's sponsored by Staples Stores. Looking at 95 southbound, Lake Calvin down through Bridge, through the ongoing construction there to some minor volume. Northbound side looking pretty good. Westbound Vine, no problems into the Schuylkill Expressway. Schuylkill westbound, watch for Sloan University through 30th through that construction zone. Pennsylvania Turnpike westbound before Virginia Drive, an accident there, mile marker 340.4. And in New Jersey now, southbound 295 near Route 30, an accident there with some restrictions. Staples has everything you need to start the year right with amazing prices on great tech. Now at Staples, PC clearance events save up to $180 on select Lenovo PCs like the Flex 2-in-1 laptop with Intel i5 processor. The offer ends at 1/2/21 while supplies last. Staples. For more traffic information, log on to SIGAlert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
This health and humanitarian crisis has shaken us all, as neighbors and as a nation. At Bank of America, we came together as a company and as a community with an unwavering commitment to advance racial equality and economic opportunity. We're thankful for the tireless efforts of our employees, partners, healthcare, and essential workers in the communities we serve. And we remain fully committed to the work ahead in 2021. Bank of America N.A., member FDIC, equal credit opportunity lender.
This message is from the Philadelphia Department of Public Health. COVID-19 is still a threat in our communities, but we can all do something simple to help stop the spread. It's critically important to wear a mask or face covering whenever you're in public or around others. Yes, even while social distancing. Wearing a mask shows you care for yourself and your community and is essential to slowing the spread of COVID-19. So love yourself, love your neighbors, wear a mask.
This WURD Kwanzaa vignette is brought to you by the Curtis Institute of Music. Habari Gani from WURD Radio. The 7 days of Kwanzaa are dedicated to the Nguzo Saba, or the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. Today is the 4th day of Kwanzaa, Ujamaa, or collective economics. Let's use today to plan, build, and maintain our own businesses. As a family, seek out and support Black-owned businesses, as well as businesses that support your community. If you're a business owner, consider partnerships that you'd like to initiate or cultivate this year. The 4WURD Small Business Program is a great way to immediately partner with us and market your company while planning family activities for the year. Build in opportunities for economic and financial education, as well as entrepreneurship and a plan to invest in your community. Today is a great day to start or renew your 4WURD membership and continue to strengthen independent Black media. For more information about Kwanzaa, visit wordradio.com. This WURD Kwanzaa vignette was brought to you by the Curtis Institute of Music. The Curtis Institute of Music educates and trains exceptional young musicians. And to ensure that admissions are based solely on artistic promise, Curtis makes an investment in each admitted student so that no tuition is charged for their studies. Meet Curtis today at curtis.edu. You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent Black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour. Mark Kelly Tyler and Dwayne David Royster. I just want to go back. I'm actually monitoring YouTube while we're on the air, and Fee Coleman wrote, I love Octavia Butler books. She was a phenomenal writer. You are absolutely right about that. We lost her too soon. I would have loved to. She was actually in the middle of writing the 3rd book of the series, The Parable of the Sower, The Parable of the Talents. It would have been called The Parable of the Joker, and we did not get a chance to see that book. And I would so much like to see what happened in that next series, and unfortunately we'll never get a chance to do so. So there are a series of other books that she has written. I've read some of them as well, and deeply appreciate. Let me just say this, if you are looking for something to get somebody for the holidays, get them an Octavia Butler book, The Parable of the Sower, The Parable of the Talents. Amazing books, and actually very indicative of this time frame that we're living in right now. So I would encourage you to do that as well. So
speaking of Octavia Butler then, and incredible Black women, let me just say, we had an interesting conversation yesterday about Beyonce's homecoming. And I'll just simply say this. There was a comment that came in later after the show, Cherie DeBrest, who I know, and Cherie actually, I think, said what I was getting at. She said, I don't know about cultural appropriation as much as maybe it's cultural misappropriation. I think that's pretty much what I was getting at. And I think the other piece of it is that, so the Black church, like the Black church experience, the Black Divine Nine experience, the HBCU experience, let's be honest, these are like unregistered trademarks, right? And if you had a trademark and somebody used it and didn't pay you for it, it would be trademark infringement, and they'd have to pay you, right? You could sue them for it. And it's like you could just come and take this, monetize it, and nobody, so you may want to give like $1 million to this school or that school. But I think that, in all fairness, if that's what you're going to do, then maybe you need to split those proceeds of those concerts and shows with the UNCF, which is a more equitable way, because the UNCF actually, those dollars become real scholarship dollars for students of HBCUs and 40+ institutions. At least it used to be 42. I think it may be down to like 39 now. But I mean, I'm just saying, it's like you get the best part of it and nobody has to pay for it. But that experience itself that you're making money on costs people dearly.
So I think Beyonce is actually doing scholarships for Black women that are going to HBCUs. I saw something about that the other day. And, I think they've also given some money to HBCU schools as well. I I probably just going to continue to disagree with you on this. I just think it's making a mountain out of a molehill.
No.
I think it's an exposure of black culture. It's exposure for young people. It's a great recruitment tool to get the black folk to think about going to black colleges and universities. And I don't think it's that. I mean, I can certainly understand, the uniqueness of going to an HBCU, not because I've gone to one, but primarily because I haven't gone to one, and hear about the experiences and have a great deal of holy jealousy of all my friends that had the HBCU experience. But at the same time, there is something about HBCU culture that is very present in African American culture, primarily because for the longest time, our folks couldn't go anyplace else. And so we brought that back into our communities and our neighborhoods, especially in a time when all of us lived in the same neighborhood because we couldn't buy houses anyplace else, right? So the black lawyer, the black doctor lived right down the street or around the corner from the black sanitation worker and the black secretary, and all that stuff was all mixed in together. And so it was a combination of what made the black community what it was.
Can you play on your church service on a Sunday on this Facebook platform that we're on this morning, anything from Jay-Z or Beyonce in your worship service? What will happen if you play it? What message do you get from Facebook at the end of your service?
So the rule is if we play a recording that they did in that service, then we cannot do it. If somebody sings a Beyonce.
No, I'm talking, not somebody singing her song. Can you play her song?
No, you cannot. It's
Why not?
Because it's a copyright infringement.
And what would Jay-Z tell you if you went to him and say, Jay, cut me a break, bro?
Pay me.
Right. So my point is, they expect to get paid. This is business. I'm not being emotional. I ain't all in my feelings. This is business. And what I'm saying on this day of Kwanzaa, Ujamaa, cooperative economics, is that everybody takes from us, including our own, our experience, and makes money on it. But if you try to flip it around, I mean, bro, I can't tell you we could do a whole show on the headaches that we have had during the pandemic with just trying to even get music in our worship services because the rules are so restrictive on these social media platforms because the industry is that way. So they understand what the business is, and I get it. Yes, they're generous. They offer benevolence to some students and they give money here and there, but that ain't business. Because that's what you can do if you choose to. What I'm saying is that, again, our experience as black people is an unregistered trademark that other people constantly make money on. And they use it because it sells. Who the heck wants to go see University of Michigan's marching band? Nobody. People walk out at halftime at Ohio State's game because nobody will say that band. That's crazy. It's like a waste of time. Rather go hang out in the hallways. But at a black college, you don't watch the football game. People hang out while the game is going on and fill the stands during halftime because the only reason you go is to see the halftime show. That's why people spend money. And now to monetize it and then say, well, we've given some scholarships to a few girls in my name and this. No, that ain't business. So business is you're making money off of an experience that is still struggling mightily. I mean, shout out to Mackenzie Scott, Jeff Bezos' ex-wife. She's made some major investments in HBCUs recently. That's what I'm talking about. And maybe that's the part that was bothering me yesterday that I couldn't quite articulate till today.
Well, I think it's still bothering you today, but
it's money. Put the money on the table. So, all right, since we're talking about incredible black women, I digress. What I really want to talk about was Shonda Rhimes.
Okay.
And Queen Charlotte.
Did you check your text?
Have you seen Bridgerton?
No, I have not.
All right, Bridgerton can wait till tomorrow because we don't have time if you want to take that call. Go right ahead.
All right, listen, why don't we get Joseph from Massachusetts on and wants to talk about Georgia politics. Joseph, how are you today?
Yeah, I want to talk. Morning, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
All right. I want to talk Georgia politics, Bernie Sanders, but before that, Cam Newton. I think they already stopped picking on him. You got to give the man a break. He just coming on the team, Tom Brady will go down as the greatest quarterback to ever play the game, but he had a passing game. Cam Newton is a middle between. You know, it's the same thing like when Randall Cunningham played for the Eagles. They call him a running quarterback, but he showed that he made more passes in the NFL than any other quarterback one particular year. So, you know, it's rebuilding. We can't win. You can't win all the time. But Georgia politics, the problem with Georgia, they call it the Black Mecca, but that's just, I live there. It's Fulton County. Everything else outside of Georgia, I call it Redneck County. Cobb County, Gwinnett County, even DeKalb County. Well, that's changing now, you know. Clayton County, Pekin County, Cherokee County, they're all redneck. And the white power structure runs Georgia. So the blacks only have power in Fulton County. And I'll show you another thing. The white power structure used a black woman to destroy the black man. When I left Georgia, the four major branches of Fulton County government was run by a black woman. I think Shirley Franklin, mayor, the police chief, the health department. So it's a facade. It's going to look like they're succeeding, but Georgia ranked in the bottom in so many things. Hepatitis C, #1 in the nation. Education, they're worse than Mississippi. AIDS, the highest rate. It's the gay capital of the world, the highest prison population.
All right, Joseph, we got to roll. All right. That's enough. Sorry. Like, seriously? The what capital of the world? Come on, man. Come on, bro. I thought we were beyond that. Like, seriously? Not to mention the fact that it was like 6:53 and you came on like 4 takes. Man, I don't know what's worse, that or Osama bin Laden's brother was following me around in the convenience store in Florida. If you missed that one, it's on the Some Save show if you choose to go and find it.
So, wow. Okay.
Anyway,
I'll take it on that one. That was on me.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right, Asa. Straight cut him off. No room for that on here. I mean, you know, it's not, look, this ain't that space. I'm sure there are plenty of spaces where that's like tolerated. But I mean, it's just some stuff we just can't do, bro. Some stuff we can't abide by. Not going to.
Nope.
So, Bridgerton, we don't have time to talk about it, but I will say, I've been on my wife about how, like, she's been, like, just, you know, geeking out over the show, like her and millions of other black women in the country. Because I'm like, I walk by and I'm like, what is this? Come on. Black queens and dukes and nobles and duchesses and heiresses. That ain't real. She learned me. I went back. I said, oh, Queen Charlotte was actually black?
Yes.
I said, well, you learned me something today. And so, again, maybe we can talk about that tomorrow, but I think it's actually really something. So you all have homework. Go do a search on Queen Charlotte, who the Queen City Charlotte is named after, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to Shonda Rhimes. Apparently you are onto something. You are ahead of your times. I bow down.
So just supporting strong black women, Dr. Cynthia Dowdy tells us we need to stop taking calls.
Dr. Dowdy, you got a supporter right here until y'all can step these calls up some. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I have nothing against callers, but if I have to keep cutting you off from Osama bin Laden's brother following you around and like homophobic slurs, then we got to put a pause on it for a minute. I'm done for the day, bro.
Sister Tyler says she heard you. She heard you. So now you can sit down and watch it with her, and you can binge watch the rest of the series with her. There you go. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us here on the Power Hour. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. to bring you the latest in news happenings around Philadelphia and, of course, our opinions. Shout out to Jordan Booth, who's sitting in for the powerful Kawisa Mathis. Listen, everybody, go out, change the damn world, because if you don't, nobody else will. Peace.
That's